Good afternoon, Justin.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll kick things off in 3 minutes. Hope everyone is having a great week. Thoroughly enjoying the refreshing coolness of autumn. Great time of year. But if you see me drinking Gatorade during this, they are not a sponsor of the HDI Central Florida chapter, but they should be. Good afternoon, Denise.
Good afternoon.
Happy Thursday.
Same to you. I think
Thank
it's
you.
funny you have to say Gatorade wasn't sponsoring this.
Well, it's important to have refreshment for these informative and dynamic meetings that we have.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, Carrie.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you. Was just commenting on what a beautiful time of year this is, and the refreshing coolness of autumn. And for those of us who are sports fans, there's pretty much something for everybody. We may have 25 friends joining us on this, so it is very possible folks will be joining after 12:30. Good afternoon, Rudy. Thanks for joining. Let me tee up our agenda. See if I can present this. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome. Can everyone see the agenda on the screen?
Yes.
I can, yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, welcome. My name is Jim Rye, and I'm the president of the HDI Central Florida chapter and your MC for this afternoon. Looking forward to a very productive time together. We're going to start off with a welcome in HDI news. We'll follow that with a presentation by Ben Howell called Automate and Modernize Major Incident Management. We'll open it up to Q&A, and then we'll have a wrap up.
Will you be able to send us the presentation? Because I can't stay on the whole meeting.
I completely understand. I will be posting the presentation just like I post all of the presentations on our HDICFL.com website under the tab for resources.
Oh, perfect.
We are also recording this, so we'll be presenting that as well.
Thank you.
It will be posted probably later today, but not later than noon tomorrow. It takes a little time for Zoom to process the presentation.
Thank you.
Let's see. Welcome, Ben and Joe and team. To start off, I want to thank our local chapter officers who helped me and our team a great deal, put on events like this. Joe Alexander, Sue Giliberti, and James Moore. I'd also like to thank our great sponsors, and they include 1IO, a gold sponsor. Ben, did you want to take a couple minutes to introduce yourself and 1IO now, or did you want to wait until I introduce you in a few minutes for your presentation?
Yeah, maybe just briefly. Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Howell. I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about modernizing major incident management today. And I'll give a little bit of an overview of what our company does and talk about a few use cases, and really looking forward to it. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We also have as a gold sponsor, Robert Half Talent Solutions, who is also the HDI national sponsor and sponsor of the awards that we give every year. And we're also privileged, I see, to have Amanda Honer of the local Robert Half Talent Solutions office and a vice president. Amanda, did you want to take a minute or two to introduce yourself and share what's new with Robert Half?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I'm the AVP and Practice Director with our Orlando Technology Practice Group, servicing everything from infrastructure to software contract and staff augmentation support. Really excited to be part of this call and be able to see everyone in person next month.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And Matt thought he was going to be joining, but he's not on yet. So we'll proceed. We also have Invigate as a silver sponsor, and we're very grateful for our sponsor that make all that we do, both meetings and web conferences like this, feasible. Upcoming HDI events include coming up very soon, just over 2 weeks. We have Service Management World, which is always an informative annual conference. Once again, it will be held in Orlando at the Champions Gate Resort. We also have coming up Wednesday, November 9th, our first in-person chapter meeting in quite some time at the UCF Fairwinds Alumni Center. Amanda, who just spoke, will be presenting an 8-step plan to future-proof your workforce. And I believe we'll also have the brand new salary guides, which are very popular and of interest for all of us that are hiring and interested in the current market rates. Coming up at the end of January, Tuesday, January 24th, we have our annual HDI Awards recognition event, which will also include an informative presentation. More information be shared regarding that soon. And then April 30th, we have our annual HDI Support World Live conference, where the finalists for the HDI awards from each region compete, and the national award winner is announced, and they get a very nice trophy and an opportunity to speak to all attendees. So some great events coming up, and we're in the planning phase for 2023 for both meetings and web conferences. Speaking of service management world, this was shared a couple of weeks ago during a nationwide local chapter officer call, and there is a $400 discount for local chapter members. And as you know, there are two types of membership. There is the free HDI local chapter membership that you can sign up for right on our website. There's also the paid membership for $149 a year, and that provides discounts of $150 off of each conference, as well as online and in-person training. And so if you're not already signed up as a member, I encourage that. In either the free or the paid membership, you have access to a wealth of valuable white papers and research that HDI does that used to be charged, and some of the items were well over $1,000. For registering for training and for events, we have a local chapter office, local chapter code that you can mention when you register, that not only provides a discount, but also facilitates revenue sharing with the local chapter office. The local chapter is a nonprofit, and so any of the corporate revenue sharing is very beneficial to help us put on more events like today. Furthermore, we now have on Wednesdays live stream held. Tom Wilk often hosts, and several other local chapter officers do, and they have special guests with interesting topics. Once again, this presentation will be posted as well as the recording on our website, hdicfl.com, so that it's very easy to join the live presentation via Twitch, or to see the recording on YouTube. There is a robust training calendar available for you, your staff, your colleagues. It was greatly expanded in 2022, and a new 2023 calendar will be posted and shared in early November, which is right around the corner. Just a reminder, and you should have received a mailing on this, but this is a call for all HDI award nominees that you would like to nominate, colleagues, staff, manager. There are quite a number of awards, and the nomination process has been streamlined, so it's very easy to click on the link that's on our website and in the mailings that have been sent out. The deadline has been moved up. Traditionally, it has been October 31st, and the submission window closes close of business this Friday, the 28th. So please get your nominations in if you're planning to send them in. And it's a very motivating and uplifting experience for everyone that's involved, not only the nominee, but the nominator and the entire team. So it's one of my favorite aspects about HDI is recognition of our rock stars and colleagues that go above and beyond the call of duty to do mentoring, great customer service, and just set a wonderful example for all. All right, I'd like to bring up our esteemed keynote speaker. Ben Howell is the head of the North American business for 1IO. 1IO is a cloud-native integration service provider that connects people, processes, and tools. Ben helps organizations improve personnel performance and reduce operational costs through process optimization and technology integration. He's done a lot of technology consulting, management operations, and delivery of sophisticated products and projects. He's worked with well-known clients like Delta Airlines, BMW, Adidas, Chick-fil-A, Porsche, and he's also helped to build and operationalize Adidas's service management approach for their e-commerce platform. And Ben has been a great supporter of HDI. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you so much, Jim. That's very flattering. I saw you saw my details on LinkedIn, but I'm very excited to talk a little bit about major incident management with everyone today.
You can share
Yep.
your screen whenever you desire.
Oh, perfect. So again, first of all, thanks, Jim, for having me today and giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about incident management and also on how to modernize and automate parts of it. As Jim said, my name is Ben Howell. I'm located here in Atlanta, Georgia, so not too far away from Central Florida. I'm actually also going to be at Service Management World in a few weeks, which I'm really looking forward to. Also participated Support World Live earlier this year, which was a great event in Las Vegas, and now looking forward to going to Service Management World in Orlando. 1IO, as Jim said perfectly, is an integration service provider. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the use cases that we've seen with a few of our clients globally when it's around major incident management, but we also do all kinds of other integrations, especially when it comes to IT service management, meaning we integrate your IT service management with any other platform. That can be, for example, SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft Teams, Slack, whatever you have, we can integrate. But we also integrate it with your external service providers, meaning any kind of IT service providers, managed service providers that you have, like Accenture, Lumen, Ahead. There are a few out there that are our customers already. We have integrations with those that make it easier for you and your team to interact because you don't have to have a swivel chair approach. You don't have to copy paste or do email communication. You can simply integrate your IT service management platform with theirs and synchronize both ways, so bi-directional, and enhance collaboration, and more importantly, get your mean time to recovery down for your incidents, problems, and so on and so forth. But today, as I promised, we're going to talk a little bit about modernizing major incident management. This is a use case that we've implemented with a few of our customers. I also have a small demo at the end, which I'm going to showcase what it actually looks like in person, so or practically, so you can you don't only get the theory today, but you actually can see how it works in production for one of our clients. And let's get started. Maybe just the first general question, and if there's any kind of functionality to raise a hand or feel free to respond in the chat, but how many people have ever participated in a major incident throughout your engagement with your current or previous employers? Is there anyone that has had experience with a major incident, which can be sometimes very stressful and intense? Perfect. I see a few hands up. Nice. That's good. At least I have a few people who know how it is to go through a major incident. It's not that much fun at all times, because as I said, it's a very high exposure kind of thing. It has a high impact on the business, and it is something that is actually really, really important that you have a good framework that ITIL provides, of course, around it in order to manage it. But then also there are a few tweaks and tricks, which I'm going to walk you through, that are going to help you in order to get it to the next level even and automate parts of it. So per definition, just to keep it very simple, it's an emergency level outage. It's a disruption of your service. Of course, it's classified as an incident per ITIL, but it's a major incident because it has high exposure, has a high impact on your business, and it has a very high urgency to get resolved, right? And just a few characteristics that I summarized for our session today about major incidents, and you will see they will guide us a little bit throughout the presentation. The first one being high visibility within the organization. I've been part of different organizations that had e-commerce platforms where those are customer-facing applications, if we had a major incident, it will go all the way up to the CEO that he or she would be aware of it. And we would then, of course, have a high amount of pressure on the IT operations folks, on the developers to get this resolved ASAP. The reason why these can have high visibility is, well, they have an impact mostly on your business, right? So for example, if you have an e-commerce platform or you have any kind of other customer-facing platform that has revenue generating for you, having some kind of disruption to that service, let's say your checkout is not working or your customers are not able to pay via credit card, that has a high impact on your revenue, because with every minute you're down and you're not able to generate revenue, it will have an effect on your yearly targets, your annual targets, and overall. That means the exposure is really high. Your customers can see it, hence senior management and executive leadership will also see it. So it has a really high visibility within the organization. And usually when these major incidents happen, almost at least 50% of the organization know that they're going on. And then over time, everyone will know that it's going on. And as I said, your customers as well. And that's the biggest problem, right? That's something you want to manage really closely. The second one here is root causes sometimes tend to be quite complex. I think this does not only apply for major incidents. I think this applies for any kind of incident, to be honest. There are a lot of smaller incidents out there that have a complex root cause, but maybe their impact and urgency is not as high, so they're not as a priority. But especially a major incident can have a really high complexity level to it. So it is really important that you get the right people in the right time on it so that they can focus on it across the board. It is usually not just one team that does the resolution here. It's sometimes even several teams, sometimes it's even external parties, right? So it's a really complex setting and you have to get to the root cause rather quickly. Of course, you can put a workaround in place, then the problem management piece will help you to fix the root cause, but it is something that tends to be quite complex. And then this is an interesting statistic I found, I read about, Gartner published this actually. They say that 54% of time is lost within the first 60 minutes. So again, it is, do you have the right people in the call? Are you able to get a hold of the right people and get them into the right call? Are you able to facilitate? Because the first 60 minutes are always the most crucial ones. Those are the initial incident response. This is where you establish your foundation, your basis on which you're going to work on. But also it takes a lot of time to organize between different teams. And you need to make sure that you have one central platform to communicate. And then also you have to have someone that supports you when it comes to managing everything, because your subject matter experts, the one that are actually doing the heavy lifting, that have an understanding of what's going on, you want them to focus on the issue and not on any kind of communication piece or creating transparency or whatsoever. They should really focus on the problem at hand. And then there should be technologies, people in place that can help with facilitating, communicating around it. It's usually a major incident manager, by the way. And then last but not least, 30% of the companies have a managed service provider involved in these major incidents. So this is what I was referring to earlier with the complexity, that you might have an external party that needs to jump on a call as well. If it's anything related to network, that can be something where a MSP is in play, where you also have to make sure you have to get a hold of these people, which makes it even trickier because they're not part of your organization. Of course, they're like an augmented staff or an extension of your workbench, but still you need to get a hold of them. They might have their own processes they follow when it comes to a major incident, and so on and so forth. So these are just 4 characteristics that stand out to me. Of course, there are a few others I think out there that describe major incidents or are characteristics of major incidents, but we're going to focus a little bit on these 4 today. And I'm going to walk you through each of them and then talk a little bit about the problems, and then how we have helped customers overcome these with some of our solutions. Starting off with the first one, high visibility within the organization. I put this one on the top because it is top level leadership that usually has this and sees this and then puts pressure on you. But what you need to do here is you have to establish transparency very quickly. Why is transparency important? Because you have to establish trust within your organization that you have the right people on this and that you're able to resolve this in the right manner and time. And in order to establish trust, you have to have a clear communication path and you have to have very clear communication. So when you look at this historically, and this can be any kind of IT service management platform, it just happens to be ServiceNow. You can be using Zendesk, you can be using Halo ITSM, Jira Service Management, Easy Vista, there are new ITSM platforms every day on the market. I think Matrix 42, SolarWinds, there's so many out there, right? But you can have any kind of ITSM platform in your team. And usually what happens is when a major incident is logged, of course, there's an incident ticket, right? That's basic, that's in there, that has to be there. That incident ticket is then classified usually through urgency and impact, which then gives it the highest priority, however you call it within your organization can be a priority one. And then of course, there's also sometimes a check mark where you say like, okay, this actually qualifies as a major incident because it has major impact on our organization and we need to get people involved ASAP. So what then happens naturally, if you've ever been part of these major incidents, what happens is there are all kinds of communication flows going on from that ticket. So the ticket is your single source of truth, but what you see is you have people messaging there. I've been in major incidents with one e-commerce provider where I got WhatsApp messages from the CEO and was like, hey, what's going on? And then you have to control everything there. You have email being sent around, like also large email threads with people on it, or it might just be chat on the hallway if it's during business hours. If it's outside of business hours, people on the phone. So there are all kinds of communication flows happening at the same time because everyone's a little bit in panic mode, right? Especially on senior executive level, they want to make sure that they have the right people on this and it's being resolved. So they want a little bit of comfort. They want to be involved without having too much of the technical details, because mostly that's not part of their role. That's where we have our subject matter experts, but they want to have some kind of feeling of, yeah, we're on this, we got details, we understood what the problem is, we have a detailed plan of action, and we can resolve it hopefully within a certain time frame, right? Ideally within the SLAs. So what we tend to do, and something how we solved this in the past, is that when this happens, is you have your IT service management platform, you have your incident ticket, that's your single source of truth. Everything that happens has to be documented in this incident ticket. Why? Because it's really important for problem management afterwards. If you have a major incident per ITIL definition, and especially if you're really paying attention to it, they recommend doing a problem ticket as well, because that problem will then be a root cause analysis right afterwards. But what you can do is use that incident as a single source of truth. So what we've done with our customers is, for example, integrated to a platform like Slack or Microsoft Teams or any kind of other collaboration chat software that is on the market. Slack and MS Teams over the last few years have probably been the most popular ones out there. But what you can do here is you create a so-called major incident channel. That makes you automatically have a channel where all the information is being published. People can join, people can communicate, and people can work together. Out of that, you can have an automated bridge with WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet. Nowadays, there's so many video platforms out there, but you can automatically streamline that. So if you have a major incident and it's classified and approved by your team as a major incident, it automatically notifies your chat tools like, hey, we have a major incident. We need to create some kind of channel or group and invite people into that. Now, the invitation of these people can happen through your IT service management platform, because you usually have assignment groups that are assigned to these tickets. So they can automatically be pulled into the channel so that you automatically have the right people in there. But important here is that this allows for your management to have a clear path to look into it. Now, there are certain, of course, it's not just the solution to have a channel and then you have all the chatter going on. It's not going to create that much oversight and transparency. What we usually also do is we introduce something like a major incident bot. So something that we've built in the past where we say like, hey, this bot comes up every 15 minutes, asks the team for updates. The major incident manager gives an update to the bot, and the bot then publishes this to the communication channels necessary within Slack, so that the people that need to be informed automatically get a message and are informed about it. That's something you can do. Again, gives the team more focus on the issue at hand. Complexity. So as we said, root causes can be quite complex. So you have to make it really easy for your team to communicate and streamline their processes, also post-mortem. Post-mortem is exactly what I talk about, right? We have the incident ticket. Now, let's say we have our Slack and our team is working in there and they're actively fixing this and they're chatting, they're in a meeting bridge at the same time. But whatever is written in this chat is basically your basis for afterwards, your problem ticket and your post-mortem or root cause analysis. meaning you will have a detailed transcript, which will then taken from Slack or Teams and copied over through our integration into your incident ticket and then problem ticket into the comment functionality. So you have a detailed flow of who did what happened when. Of course, there's some noise in there. Let's be realistic. There are some repetitive messages in there, but you still have a high level automated documented in your problem ticket, which then your problem manager can take for the postmortem or the root cause analysis and use as a transcript or a protocol to go through, okay, this is what happened at 11:01, at 11:05, these and these people joined, at 11:07, we identified this, and so on and so forth. So you can use this automatically created just through the work that has been done to resolve this disruption as a template to go through as your root cause and postmortem. What we usually do here, and it depends completely on the system that is being used. We've seen ServiceNow as a ticketing system. You have the incident in there, you have the problem. And then some companies like to use Confluence, for example, for root cause analysis because of the collaborational fashion behind it. So we also then have an integration where we provide that information over there as well. But that's basically what you can do. And it is really, really important because when you're resolving this, you don't want to be consumed about documentation. You just want to get a workaround in place or ideally solve it right on the spot. But if that's not possible, you want to make sure that you have everything documented, that transcript in your problem ticket, so you can use that as a basis for your postmortem or your root cause analysis to make sure that this does not happen again. Time is always important for everyone, but here, especially the 54%, we talked about it briefly, it is really about getting the right people on the call as quickly as possible. And again, it is something where you have maybe this established, and this is what I talked about. In ServiceNow, if you have an incident ticket, there are assignment groups. There are people that are responsible for certain categories of your service. These people can then have predefined escalation points that can be invited into these groups so that they have an opportunity to join the group and be part of that. There are on-call numbers. And of course, this is only 2 tools. There are tools out there like PagerDuty, Opsgenie, and so on. If you have them in the mix, it makes it even better because they give you clear on-call structures, they give you clear escalation paths, and they help you to get the right people on the call and also notify the right people at the right time. So by automating this, in a classic scenario, what happens is a major incident manager would now go onto ServiceNow or onto Jira Service Management or Zendesk and look at all the assignment groups and try to get the on-call numbers and call these people. But you already have them in your system or in a third-party tool like Opsgenie or PagerDuty. That means we can just pull the people from there. Who's on call? Perfect. We're going to invite that person to a call right here, send them a link, the short description of what's happening from the incident ticket. And they're also added to the Slack or Microsoft Teams channel so that they're directly involved. That helps us to pull in the people automatically without needing to manually reach out. Again, in the first 60 minutes, it is key to get the right people into the meeting so that you can get an understanding of what's actually going on. Then knowing you have the right people in order then to build your plan and also your communication. Because as I said before, what you want to do is you want to establish foundation and trust as quickly as possible so that people in your organization know, okay, we have the right people on this and there's a clear path forward for this. So involving the right people can be automated through integrating these tools into your major incident or in any kind of other incident process that you have within your organization. And that's what you, at the end of the day, achieve. You get your subject matter experts, those people that you want to have in the call, they're going to be part of that call. When it comes to partners, and this is the fourth point we had on the first slide, 30% of the companies that work are engaged in these major incident companies, mostly external partners or managed service partners. So you have to make sure that you can include the right people also from your partners without having any concern about how to follow their processes, because they might have their own major incident process, right? There's a framework out there for everyone, and ITIL is a good practice. I always call it a good practice, not a best practice. It's a good practice to follow, but then everyone has their own tweaks and everything around that, and also their own application layer behind it. So if you have everything set up on your side, as we just discussed, you have your subject matter experts, people are on the call. So how do you get your external parties into the call? Well, ideally, and your external partner could also have their own system, you're integrated into their system as well. Meaning if your ServiceNow system says, hey, dear customer, I have a major incident happening. It can trigger an integration that you have to your MSP's IT service management platform and tell them, hey, we have a major incident. That means we need your help. And then also involve their subject matter experts into the call or into the Slack channel or whatsoever, depending on how your guidelines are for these tools, right? Ideally, the first step is always into a call bridge, but they can also be invited into these Slack channels or Teams channels as external guests, right, with temporary rights. But what happens here is, again, you create a ticket on your side through the integration that has business rules, that has mappings, routing rules, and so on. It creates a ticket in your customer system, in your MSP system from your managed service provider. They get notified, they follow their processes and engage the right people from their team in order to support you and your team at the same time. So again, you don't have to dial anyone, you don't have to call anyone, you just create a ticket on their system automatically after yours is created. And then they can engage on their side and join the call as soon as possible and hopefully also drive the error resolution. So what we've seen here, and these are all different kind of steps, and you can also see them a little bit as a maturity curve. You don't want to go with the big bang right away. You start slowly, and then over time you grow into a more automated and modernized major incident process. But what you can see here is you have your internal application. You can integrate it with whatever tool you're using for communications, which can be Teams, which can be Slack or anything else. And then you're integrated with your external partners at the same time, which they can use any of these tools, or even there are way more out there than I can fit on this slide, unfortunately. But you can integrate into your partners. And what we've seen, and we've done this now with a few customers where we started slowly, we started with just let's create transparency and the communication flow and then go from there down the road. What we've seen through this automation is that we were able to increase transparency really fast, meaning we had major incident outages in the past where it took a certain amount of time to get the information flow to the right people at the right time. We were able to increase transparency fast just by integrating into a Slack or Microsoft Teams and creating that transparency within the organization. Also, we were able then with our partners to involve the right people at the right time, right? So there's, of course, a certain setup that you need to have, that there are on-call people documented in the system. But once that is in place, you're actually saving time right at the beginning because you're involving the right people at the right time. You're able to automate your incident and problem documentation. As I said, whatever is documented in these channels would automatically be integrated into your ticket and would be also automatically there and be your basis for root cause analysis. And as you can see on this picture here in the middle, you're able to involve not only your external partners, but also follow their processes. So in terms of success, what we've seen, just to give a little bit of a statistic here, we've seen the mean time to recovery for 2 of our clients that have the full-blown solution decrease by 21%, which is, I mean, that's a huge number. 21% is just a percentage, but if you think about, you might have an e-commerce team that has the goal of selling $4 billion of revenue by end of the year. Any minute counts for them. And if you're able to reduce the mean time to recovery by 21%, that has a high impact on reaching their yearly annual targets. Approximate cost savings we've seen per major incident and also for smaller incidents, because once you have this, you might want to use this also for high priority incidents that are not major incident, but still high priority. Between 10 to 45K, that is really depending on the organizational size, right? The higher the impact and also depending on the business goals. But this is something where over time, it basically amortizes for you because you're able to automate all these steps and you're able to save staff time and have more people focus on the actual problem than anything else. And then, of course, it has overall a positive effect on your incident response and problem management. Meaning if you practice, and you probably everyone here knows about this, if you practice these methods and how to do these things, your problem management will help you to decrease your incidents. With less incidents, you have less costs operationally, and also you're able to avoid less interruptions into your service and also provide a better quality of service to your organization or customers. That a little bit is everything in a nutshell. as I promised, I have a little bit of a demo. I have a recording of a solution that we've implemented with one of our customers that I would like to share, just so that you know that we're not only talking about something in theory here, but we actually done this in a practical fashion. And you're going to see on the left-hand side, you're going to see a Jira instance. I think this was a Jira on-premise solution. Back then it was not in the cloud. And on the right-hand side, some people might recognize it. You have a classic ServiceNow instance that basically is their IT service management platform. And you can see here an integration between Jira to ServiceNow, because with the e-commerce team that we worked with in the past, all their developers worked in Jira because developers usually prefer tools like Jira. They have their CI/CD pipelines, all that kind of stuff. And then you have your classic IT operations working in ServiceNow or Zendesk or whatsoever. And then the third level of integration you cannot see on the screen, but you will see in a second, is then the integration into Slack, creating this channel. And it also gives you a quick glimpse at the major incident bot I quickly referred to. So what happens here on the left-hand side, you can see there's an incident that is being created. It has the impact and urgency of high, which back then was the major incident tick box they were looking for. So developers see something is not working on the e-com platform. They open a ticket in Jira, which is then being created here in Jira. You get the successful creation note. And at the same time, you can see that while I'm refreshing this on the left-hand side, ticket has been created. On the right-hand side, I'm refreshing the view, and you can see immediately, almost in real time, an incident has been created from exactly that group in ServiceNow. Now, you can even use comment functionality and all that kind of fun stuff, where you say like, hey, dear system, we need this and this. And while you post this on the left-hand side in Jira, you can see that it populates on the right-hand side in ServiceNow immediately. I think, let's go a little bit back. You can see this got here immediately. So you have an integration. This could be your system and your managed service provider. This could be your developers and your IT operations, two systems separately from each other, integrated in real time to make the facilitation of information easier. And then what you can see here is in this ServiceNow instance, whoever's familiar with ServiceNow, there's a CMDB functionality, a configuration management database that's also integrated, of course. You can see immediately the impact the incident has on your organization, what other incidents have been logged historically, just a basic ServiceNow functionality. But now the interesting part is you can see that a new channel was created in Slack, where it says like, hey, we have a new incident. You can see even an incident manager here at the bottom saying like, hey, stakeholders, we received the following messages. We're working on the fix. Thanks for the effort. So this could be really this channel that you use not only to work, but it could be the channel that you use with a bot as a major incident manager to facilitate the communication. Now, how this interacts, and you can see it a little bit here on the history, is like, it starts off by telling you, hey, an incident was created. This is the short description. This is what happened. I'll contact you again in about 10 seconds. That's what the incident manager says. And then says like, hey team, we're interrupting your conversation for a question. Do you want to contact the stakeholders? Then you can say, yes, please, let's contact the stakeholders. Okay, great. What do you want to tell them? And then you're giving them a simple description of what's currently going on, right? That clear transparency, that clear message of, hey, of course, it should be a little bit more extensive than what I did here with we're working on the fix. I don't think this is sufficient for your stakeholders, but you could say like, hey, we identified the root cause. We're working on a workaround. These are the steps we're taking. Next update's going to happen in 30 minutes, right? So you have like a proactive step of pushing that communication to your executive leadership, but also your line managers and so on and so forth. And then this incident manager will go notify these people automatically in the background and tell them, hey, this is what the team is currently working on. This is the message I'm delaying to you today. So you can see we have this where this really pops all the way from Jira to ServiceNow, even into the CMDB, and then basically into Slack almost in real time here. I mean, there are a few milliseconds in between, right? But basically, this is how you can then interact. And then people will be invited to this call, which then, sorry, not to this call, to this channel. And then what we did, and this is not part of the video, is that once this channel was created, we automatically created, back then it was a WebEx bridge, now it's a Google Meets link, that then people can hop on that are subject matter experts. You have a physical incident manager in the call, major incident manager that handles a little bit the facilitation. And then I'll actively work on the fix. And again, whatever is documented in here will then be automatically documented in your ITSM platform in the incident ticket itself. Switching screens again. Bear with me. This is a little bit about how the setup is. I don't think we have to talk about this. This is how we do integrations, but maybe just a few references of customers we've built exactly this use case with, or some of their clients we've built them with. You can see some of them are enterprise logos, some of them are managed service providers or resellers. But these are the things, just to give you a little bit of an overview of customers we've implemented this with. And yeah, this brings me almost to the end of my presentation. I feel like I talked forever, but I would like to open this up to possible questions. I don't know, Jim, if we have something in the chat, but I'm happy to answer anything that you guys might have at the moment.
Thank you, Ben. Looking at the chat as we speak, please feel free to submit your or to submit questions via chat, or just to unmute, Alt-A, or the unmute button. We're ahead of schedule, which is a good thing. So we certainly have time for questions.
So Ben, this is Joe Alexander here. Really love the presentation and stuff. What would be one of your guys's in your experience, right, when you do these implementations, what would be one of the challenges when you're looking at doing that automated link between those different systems, regardless of what they are? What's some of the challenges that you guys know that you run into, whether it's technical or resource constraint? What are some of those that we can expect to see?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So some of the challenges, of course, you see is the initial setup. You have to have the right people in order to get this stood up and set up. So you need to have any kind of administrator on your ITSM platform. Usually what we do, of course, is have detailed conversations with security and all that kind of stuff, where we say like, hey, these are our standards, these are ISO certifications, and so on and so forth. But those are just in the beginning to get this stood up, the conversations we have. But then afterwards, to be honest, once it's stood up and once it's working, it's more about living the process a little bit. It's a little bit of a mindset change, because you're moving from maybe a little bit more traditional process into a more tool supported process. But after you've been through this exercise once or twice, then everyone usually involved understands what's going on and how to operate this. But it is something that we've seen in the past where it takes 1 or 2 major incidents, which we then help with, of course, to make sure that it works to the way you need it to work. And something maybe to note also is that this is not only, these integrations are not only used for major incidents, right? So people, for example, use it to modernize even their service desk, right? So instead of calling your service desk, sending an email, opening a ticket, you can use these platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams to open a ticket. So sometimes your business counterparts are on the move. They are not interested in going into an ITSM platform. They probably don't even know about that it is an ITSM platform to create a ticket. So some of them have Microsoft Teams or Slack on their phone. They can open a ticket directly from there. That's also a use case that goes hand in hand with this kind of setup.
Oh, fantastic, Ben. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great. Anybody else have any questions for Ben? So I do have another one, Ben, and I don't mean to be the only one stealing the time with you. But I really like the idea, like in your very beginning, when you break it down about the most time is spent in that first hour and really getting that information out there. And I really like the idea of having the tools at the fingertips of those folks doing the work. So sending that communication out through either Slack or Teams or whatever tool they have in place, right? Whatever it is, Jabber, whatever that tool is. But then having that tool write that conversation back into the ticket, so you don't have to have somebody try and copy and paste, open up the tool and go back in. I think that is a brilliant step to really have that captured over.
Yeah, 100%. As I said, it gives you a great foundation then afterwards for your postmortem, your root cause analysis, because you have the entire transcript of the major incident, what happened, who did what, when, who joined where, and that helps you a lot to build that basis and foundation to then hopefully fix the root cause and avoid these things in the past. I mean, our solution hopefully helps you to avoid major incidents in the future.
Hey, Ben, this is Mark Middleton. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to really understand. So you're selling a product along with a service, or
No,
or
so we sell a product. So as I said, we're an integration service provider. So we're basically helping building these integrations between those. And then as a part of our expertise, especially when it comes to these things around IT service management, because that's our ballpark that we focus on. If you look at some of our competitors out there, Boomi, Informatica, and so on and so forth, they're very broadly structured and they do almost everything. But our focus is more on IT service management. So you get a little bit of expertise also with that. We sell services on top. These depend really on the customer. Sometimes it is just ramp up services to get the technology stood up. Or it is something where we help a little bit with an engagement to give a few recommendations here and there. But it's mostly more about the platform itself that we believe that once in place helps you facilitate these tickets. And again, this major incident is just one example. If you have external service providers you're working with and you want to increase the time of collaboration between an external partner and yourself, usually that's part of something we do as well. So it's really more about the platform and the services to get you stood up, but then that's basically it.
okay, so basically your products and services focus on integrations primarily with the ITSM tool, along with some integration with Teams or Slack, and also integrations with like call out systems like PagerDuty and Xmatters, or is that
Yes.
built into your products?
No, that's also part of it. So it's anything that you can see in your ecosystem of an IT service management platform. Even the CRM system like Salesforce or HubSpot, right, can be in there. It can be an SAP application. We do all kinds of integrations, but we come from IT service management, and that's where most of our use cases come from. But it can also be PagerDuty, Opsgenie, Xmatters, whatever. As soon as you have information from one side to the other, that's basically where we help you facilitate it. We have a platform with a UI and so on, where you can define these routing routes and mappings and all that kind of fun stuff.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Great. We have time for more questions, if anybody has them. Okay. Well, Ben, thank you so much for an enlightening presentation and inspiring demonstration. It's very innovative solutions that you offer. All of us that have been involved in major incident management and systems integration, like I've been involved in for many, many years, understands the complexity and the challenges that it faces. And having a very streamlined, automated, orchestrated approach to personnel notification engagement and reducing the mean time to repair or ticket resolution is extremely welcome. And those cost savings were very compelling as well. So thank you so much again for your presentation today. And once again, I will be posting the presentations as well as the recording of this event on our hdicfl.com website. We thank you so much for attending. Hope to see you at our chapter meeting on Wednesday, November 9th, and at Service Management World. And thank you in advance for any HDI award nominations that you have submitted or plan to submit. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it, everybody.
Our pleasure. Thank you.